Hear the song.
Welcome back to the brighter side of blue. Ho, ho, ho. I'm Danny.
I'm Tommy.
I'm James.
James J.J. Joyner in the
No,
house.
I'm James today, okay? I'm not in a...
We'll leave it at James.
You're in official mood? You're in an official mood.
All right, James.
No,
All right.
no,
So you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, I did.
Save any dogs? Hug any dogs?
No, just my own. It's a good dog. Actually, I had my son's dog over, and my dog turned into a bad dog.
Uh-oh.
Because she was jealous of the...
Didn't play well with others?
She played well. She just was annoying, barking all the time at us and shit.
Dogs will do that. Yeah. Tommy, how was your Christmas?
Awesome. You know when you've hit a different stage in life, when all your gifts refer to you as Pawpaw in some way or another, whether it's on the shirt or whether it's on the socks or the same.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
One of my favorite gifts was this shirt
that nobody can see.
It says...
What's that say, John?
Southside Hoosier.
South City Hoosier.
South City Hoosier.
Born and raised, still live in South St. Louis.
Wear that with pride.
You don't need a shirt to advertise that.
It's a given. How was yours, Producer John? How was your Christmas?
Oh, well. Enjoyed it very much.
All right, listeners, I hope you had a great Christmas and get ready for that 2024.
Like we are?
Yeah, Brighter Side of Blue is going to be big in 24.
Well, we're going to try. We're going to keep the momentum going. Thank you to all the listeners that have just put the word out. We want you to keep putting the word out, and whatever it is, the way people like to get their podcast, you can get us. Just Google. Just tell your friends just to Google the Brighter Side of Blue podcast.
Do we have an update on how many states? We still stuck at 2 something.
I didn't look, but I think we're well over 280.
280 cities were in the Brighter Side of Blue.
And you know who hit us up on an email was a friend of Jimmy's, Jim Sandercock, and he thought that Jimmy might remember him from his days at Quincy, but when I brought that up to JJ, JJ rattled off this story.
Well, his older brother Dave played soccer with me at Quincy, and Jimmy was, I think, a freshman, and I was a junior, and he blew out his knee. He never played soccer again for Quincy. I wasn't sure he went, but I was good friends with his family. Dave and I have been in touch ever since with other Quincy people. His wife, Kelly, married a Quincy girl, and they had a great family, a boy and 2 girls. Is my partner.
That's the Sandercock family?
Yeah, he just popped 2 beers. But Dave's daughter, his son actually, all went to SLU. He put them all through SLU. Dave's a doctor in Springfield. And the daughters, when they came to SLU, he called me up, and I kind of kept an eye on them. And actually, and I hate to say this, but I actually helped them get into the bars on the landing when they were of age. Except, I think it was Kelsey. She came, and I got her in through in Morgan Street. I got her through the line because it was crowded. And she brought a bunch of her friends. I set them up on the bar, got them all shots. And
that's good.
About 2 months later. She comes in for her 21st birthday, which I didn't know. But
you're not supposed to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, but no, she's a great
kid. Take care of the Sandercock family.
She's got great families, little girls.
The best part of that is Jim, who emailed us, is in Boise, Idaho, giving us another city, right?
Yep.
And then he was saying that he was turned on to the podcast by Kelsey.
Right.
So these people have nothing to do with the police department, which is kind of cool to us because we want to be very,
And I remember Jim very well. He's a good athlete, good soccer player. He hurt us when he got hurt. We would have been a better team with him. But
we're kind of growing organically, grassroots. Right. We're a grassroots podcast.
Just like that shirt you just said.
Yep,
South City Hoosiers. Just doing the South City Hoosiers.
Just being me. I'm just doing me.
Right. Just being who you are. That's all we can ask.
Should I ask Kelsey if I can play what I just said about the bar thing before we put this out?
No.
No,
she's done. She's married. She's everything. Yeah,
past that.
Got a great husband. He's a good man.
I actually asked Jim if on the email, just back and forth, would she mind if we mentioned her name? And he said, I think that would be, she would absolutely love it. And that's how this whole podcast has grown, though. It's just from people like Kelsey and like Jim, just telling their friends, just say, hey, give them a shot. And we do tell a lot of police stories, and it is police-centric. But we're just normal human beings just trying to have fun, and we hope you guys have fun with us as we go through all this silliness.
We just got done interviewing, and we'll be dropping this podcast, next week, Tommy?
Yep.
A legend, Sergeant Joe Burgoon, we asked him how many homicides did he solve and get convictions. Was it over or under 100? And he said way over 100.
Yeah, and had thousands of investigations.
Thousands.
And again, we had him on with one of the other podcasts we'll be releasing shortly is our update on the Nancy Brandon case. And we got his just opinion on how that might be able to get furthered. And I think we gave Melissa Douse, the niece of Nancy, some advice to maybe she can follow that I think everybody will enjoy. And, the followers really like that story.
Well, we're going to keep pushing that.
Yeah, Joe was a cold case investigator for the county, so this probably would end up in his lap if he was still working. But he had a lot of good advice, and we're just kind of pushing it down the road. So it was
We
good.
don't want to get too involved, but we just want to help.
He said he would,
Yeah.
if he was still there, he would handle that case for sure.
Oh yeah, he'd been all over it.
Right.
Well, it needs some attention. It needs to be under a spotlight and get some
And
resolution
again,
there.
it would just help, nobody can do this stuff on their own, and what's been done in the past has been done in the past, and moving on, right?
Moving on. So we'll have that dropping next week.
Yes, we'll have both of those. We'll have the Nancy Brandon update, and then our time with Joe Burgoon. He talked about the national murders, which was 5 people murdered at one time, which is still
National Grocery Store up on
grocery
Natural
stores,
Bridge.
yes. So
43.
that's still considered still is the biggest mass shooting in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So everybody talks about mass shootings and of the recent, but it goes back to 19. When was that, JJ?
3?
80
No,
was it?
87.
And to the listeners, I mean, a lot of our great stories so far have been kind of morbid topics,
Right.
but with good endings and the police work that went into putting terrible people behind bars where they need to be. But we promise that we have some lighter side of blue coming with some good, funny police stories that humanize the police.
Absolutely.
Some classics
And I think
coming up.
talking about 2024, right? And we're listening to our listeners. So you guys, like Danny always says, you people are our people and their people, and when you guys email us and we talk to family members about how we can be better and what we can do to be better, and everybody's like, hey, tell you guys funny stories. Like my story with the bomb. People seem to think that's pretty funny. Well, every policeman has a story like that where they just you're just like, hey man, I did what I did, and it makes me look like a fool, but it is funny. And we want to bring a lot of those stories, almost on a weekly basis, and it just shows that we're just normal people that sometimes make a mistake, and it can be funny.
Well, normally we have good intentions. Almost always, but sometimes you think it's a good idea to do something, and it's not. So, Dan, do you have any examples of, I thought it was a good idea to do this?
But it was not. And yes, I do. And God rest his soul. Hey, listeners, this is one of my favorite funny police stories. It's good intentions. So Sergeant Bill Vise, God rest his soul, died way too early. But Bill wrecked a lot of police cars, and he couldn't drive the police cars anymore. He had to be in timeout, and so he went on a foot beat in the district, in the 2nd district. And listeners in London, you don't know where that is, but he had to be on a foot beat for a while so we could get some cars fixed up. And so one day he's on Manchester Avenue, and between Manchester and the police station where he needs to make relief to go home is a railroad track. And so he's walking up Manchester, and he looks at his watch, and he sees that it's time to start heading to the station, which is about a 1.5 mile walk for him to make relief on time. And there is a train coming down, and it's going like at a half a mile an hour.
Doing
it's
creep.
barely moving.
Doing
It's
the creep.
creeping.
It's doing the creep. Yeah.
It's doing the creep.
Yep.
And so Bill thought it would be a good idea to. He approached the train and he saw that this flatbed was coming up, and he could very easily jump on it because it was doing a quarter of a mile an hour. And then his plan was, he thought it'd be a good idea to jump on the flatbed, walk across the flatbed, and jump off the other side of the train, and then keep on walking a mile and make relief. So he does that. He jumps up on the train on the flatbed, and he walks across to the other side. And when he gets to the other side, two things are happening. Number one, the train is now picking up speed. But number two, when he gets to the other side, he looks down, and it's 8 feet down. So it's a different side of the track, and it's like 8 or 10 feet down that he would have to jump down in the gravel. So there's a thought process. Do I do it? And the whole time this thought process is happening, the train is picking up speed, going east towards Illinois.
It's a harder thought.
So then he turns around and he goes to the other back to the other side where he came from. Where at the time he was easy to jump up on, but now that's 10 feet high because he's moved down the track.
And we're going like 20 now.
Now we're doing 20. Now we're doing 20.
That's just gonna hurt jumping.
So he is in a quagmire, and he sits down on the flatbed in full uniform, and he's heading east.
The only thing he's got is his radio.
Only
right?
thing he has is his radio, but there's a whole thought process. Do I expose myself, get on the radio, and let all the world know that I'm on a train about to leave the state of Missouri?
Midnight train to Georgia.
And so
midnight train to Georgia.
he gets on dispatcher. I don't know what his call letters were. I'm on the Amtrak and bed, and I'm stuck. And the dispatcher's like, "What? You're where?" So, wrapping up the story, by the time Bill explained to the dispatchers what was happening, by the time we got a hold of Burlington Northern to stop the train to let our footbeat officer off the flatbed, he was well into Illinois. He left the state. He's across the Mississippi River and in Illinois. And the train stopped, and we had to go get Bill and bring him back to make relief. He was late for relief.
But I can even. It was a good idea. It started out as a good idea. I thought that would work.
Good
right?
intentions.
Good intentions. He wanted to make relief on time.
All
So
he had to do was jump over the train.
he had to do it.
And the timing wasn't right.
Did you write him up for being late for a roll call? Or
No,
late
no,
for
no.
relief?
Being out of his area.
No, because this happened on a Tuesday, and by the time I got done laughing, it was Thursday afternoon, and he was on time for roll call.
He got wrote up for being out of his area.
It was the funny part that I heard that story from him, and it was funny.
Oh, he was laughing. He
So,
knew.
no, he was funny though. He had a good sense of
Now,
humor.
Bill was our the drawer, the guy who was
sketch artist for
drawer.
Homicide. He would draw he was very
Very
talented
good at that.
Very good at that.
Very bad driver.
Now I got to. Did you ever hear the story where he was also on the footbeat, I believe, and he accidentally walked into these concrete guys were doing a sidewalk and finishing the sidewalk, and he
No.
walked through on accident with his boots, and they were mad. They were mad as a horse.
They got mad.
You just saw that.
No.
Right.
He told that story. Remember the old gym we had on Macklin? He told that story. He told both those stories. He had me crying, laughing.
I love Bill Weiss. When he would tell those stories, he would have a straight face. He wouldn't be laughing with you. You'd be crying. He was like, yeah, and then it was
Yeah, the way he
class.
told
That's
it was
some good
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah. He walked through concrete, and he said the
That's
guys
like
finished
something
the
like
con-
the silent movies you'd look at, like Charlie Chaplin doing. You know, like, hey, with
But
the
he said he
cane.
wasn't paying attention. He was walking, and
Yeah.
he is. He was.
That's how we
funny.
lost like 22 cars. Because anyway.
Well, those are the kind of stories we keep want to tell. And I mean, those are, again, Bill was a wonderful guy, and just like me, I threw away that purse. People enjoy the hell out of that story, so maybe we'll bring some more stories like that.
Yep, we will. I mean, we are, like John said, we have good intentions, and sometimes they go right when we should have went
My
left.
intentions was straight up for
Laziness.
So what's the name of this segment? We're going to call this segment.
We don't know.
Okay.
Johnny, what do you think? Leave it up to the listeners, but John came up with a good one.
We thought it was a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea to fill in the blank and then we'll just explain as
I like
why
that. Thought it was a good idea.
it wasn't as good of an idea as you thought.
JJ wants to go with the lighter side of blue segment.
I think John trumped it with, I thought it was a good idea.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll see what the listeners say. I was at our first listener, my 93-year-old mother's house
Yes.
for Christmas. There was 40 of us there, and all 40 of them have listened to the podcast. I got all kinds of different critiques.
Hey, thank your mother for the Christmas card she gave me too. Appreciate that.
No worries. Yep. Yeah.
All 40 people heard the podcast because Dan locked the door and made them listen to it.
I bought one big ass Bluetooth speaker, locked the doors, and made them listen.
Nobody's leaving this room until you listen to the podcast.
Right. And I want critiques. But that's the only way we get better, because it's we listen to it all, and it's neat now that we've been on for like, what, a month and a half now. And you walk
Crusty
into
veterans.
places, and people are like, "Oh, you do the podcast?"
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me a couple times. That's kind of cool, and then they immediately come up with ideas. And a lot of these ideas are good ideas, and again, we hope to be around for years to come. We'll get to all these great stories. I think one person brought up the Sean Hornback story,
Oh my God.
which would be a cool story. But again, we don't want to get into just firing away like serious story after serious story at you. We want to bring some lighter side, the brighter side of blue about it.
And we're probably not going to bring anything up unless we have some kind of special insight that
Exactly.
that hasn't already been reported before.
Exactly.
That's you know,
Right.
what we're going to keep trying to
That's
do.
our core. And I truly believe in that.
Right.
If we can't bring a unique angle that has been untouched,
We'll just get on a train.
yeah.
Just get that
Head on over
story
to Illinois.
Right, head on over to
Yeah.
Illinois.
But we're not just going to repeat work that people have already done.
Right, and a lot of the cases we talk about, you could do 5 shows on it,
Yeah.
But that's not the podcast we are either. We're not going to sit here and do, part 18 of a long story, because a lot of these guys, a lot of these stories do deserve. I mean, there's people writing books of the stuff we talk about.
Yes.
We just want to give a little insight from the characters that were involved.
Yep. So we're looking forward to 2024 being fun, informative, and a growth year for the brighter side of blue.
Absolutely. What else we got? We're going to try to do so for the video portion of it. So, a lot of times we'll do the podcast. That'll always be out once a week, whatever the topic is. But what we want to do is get a little bit more visual. So if you go to our YouTube channel, we're going to start up, and we don't know what we're going to call this segment yet. It's going to be 5-10 minute videos of the locations we talk about in a lot of our podcasts, such as maybe Tammy Sirocco Benjamin's house, or
And we can put Dan on the train and go eastbound
I'm for that.
in Manchester.
For that, for sure.
And
We'll do a whole show on the flatbed train.
yeah, and we'll just reenact the whole thing.
But no, that's one of the things we're going to start to with our YouTube channel. So follow us on YouTube, and we're going to put that on Facebook, and we'll put that on Instagram and TikTok. We're on TikTok too. So
And JJ's getting closer and closer to some brighter side of blue apparel.
Yes, should be next week. We should be up and running with a website or a link to link onto. So,
and then they can pick their own colors,
Yep.
pick your own design.
yep.
A good barometer is always the youngins, and so like my son and that age group, they saw our logo and some of the apparel, and they absolutely love it. But
What
anyway,
else we got?
the kids love the apparel. That's why we started on
That's
this.
how we started that.
That's how
yes.
we started that. The kids love the apparel and the logo.
Maybe we'll have them as our models. We'll have our
Exactly.
kids as our models on our social media page.
Because nobody wants to see us wearing anything.
No.
We're thinking
That's
about getting
not-
billboards,
Yes, that actually,
and our faces won't be on them. You know what? My face could be on there. You know.
You got a pretty face now. The two of you got. You guys
JJ.
are you guys are the talent.
JJ, what do you think? Want to go
Yep.
on a billboard?
I mean, we're going to promote us. Might as well put our mugs on the thing.
Goddamn right. Two pretty mugs.
Yeah.
Oh,
we want.
look at
No,
you
I'm
two.
not. I'm saying all of us. Not just
Hey, JJ.
everybody. But
hey,
everybody
JJ,
but Huggy.
slow down.
Everybody
Slow-
but Huggy.
Hey, simmer down.
No, come on now.
I've partied a lot over the years. I don't know that I have a billboard face.
That's not the point.
I think
It's not the
I think I'm
point.
more.
You got to see the team. The team, and put a.
They can hear about
we'll
the
have,
team.
Then we'll have Huggy like blacked out, like
Yeah.
just kind of.
Huggy,
and just be there and just have like a
Mysterious.
his face missing.
Yeah. 280 cities.
It's incredible. And then it keeps growing every time you get on. It's fun to get on the statistic thing. Because every day it just keeps growing and keeps growing and keeps growing because somebody tells somebody during a conversation that day. Somebody had told somebody, "Hey man, you ought to give these guys a try."
Yeah.
And then you can see that each episode will get a hit. Like over they listen to the one, or they go to another one, or they go to another one. So it works, and we appreciate everybody and actually Christmas, we had a ton of hits on Christmas. And that's got to be because people were sitting around.
Dan Howard's family.
Dan Howard's family. But he only got one, though, because he made them all listen to one.
He made them all listen to
they all listen to one.
On their own personal devices.
Right.
Tom had a bunch of hits on his Christmas, too. Hits.
Hits.
Yes. The ding. Yes, the old side humor. I did have a lot of hits.
That flopped.
Yeah, that did flop. Until we got it. Once we got it, you were even above us.
No, that was good, JJ.
That was really good.
No, I did have a lot of hits on Christmas.
Thanks.
I have a lot of hits every day. Every day. Like after Joe left, Joe Burgoon, we already talked about how we went outside and got prepared for this segment.
And when you went outside, what happened when you went out there?
I got prepared for this segment. Oh,
Yeah. He goes outside and gets locked out. He's got to call me to go down and get him. And he's laughing the entire time.
He's wearing my jacket with my keys in it, and I don't have a key.
which I had the keys in my jacket, but I grabbed John's jacket off the back of and I thought it was my jacket, so I was outside with no keys.
And so was I.
I wish you.
So I had to call up in there.
I wish you didn't have your phone on you. That'd been fun. He'd been throwing rocks at the window.
We'd have got you. We'd have got your attention.
I would have thrown Tom through the window.
What's your favorite Christmas cookie?
Just chocolate chip.
I'm with you.
Molasses, molasses crinkle my niece makes.
No.
Maybe some red and green M&Ms in there on a chocolate chip kind of a cookie.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pie? Pecan?
Shit.
Chocolate cream pie.
Yeah.
Pumpkin pie.
Apple pie.
Shrimp scampi.
Nothing's
shrimp
better,
salad,
nothing's better than apple pie and ice cream, though.
fried shrimp.
Warm apple pie and ice cream.
Scrimp.
We went from pie. I'll take a good old shrimp pie. Just a bunch of shrimp in a circle.
I don't like shrimp.
The pie, all you have to be a pie is you just got to bring it out in a circle, right? You can have any pie you want. If it's in a circle, it's considered a pie.
I don't think the barometer for a pie is to be circular.
Yep.
There's no way on earth, Tom.
You ever see a square pie? Name me a
What
square
did you
pie.
say?
What's that?
Square pie?
Why is that funny?
I don't know.
It's funny. I know.
What's the little apple pies you buy in the little wrap? Who makes those? The Hostess.
Hostess.
Little Hostess.
No, those are
rect-
like the quarter circle.
But those
are like a half a circle.
But they say
No.
apple
There's
pie.
no square pies.
That's,
But that can't be the barometer.
hey,
I don't know why that makes you laugh so hard.
I don't know, but
There's no such thing as a square pie.
Square pie.
Would you stop? Let me ask you this. I'm going to get a brownie pan, a square brownie pan.
Right.
I'm going to put a pumpkin pie crust in it.
Would you put apple pie in?
Oh,
It's
whatever.
not- right.
No, I'm going to put
pie.
the crust in it, and then I'm going to put the apple filling in there. I'm going to put a crust on top. It's going to be a square. That is a pie.
More of a brownie.
it's called
At
tart.
that point, it becomes a brownie. It's like an apple
Tart.
that's-
Apple tart.
right.
You fuckers never
just
listen to me.
You screwed up the whole pie thing once you put it in a square.
John, is my mic on?
Somebody say something.
Hello? Testing 1, 2.
Loud and clear, JJ.
I don't know. Is there?
I'm not letting you win this argument.
Hey,
It's not an argument. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just trying to point out that there's no square pies.
There is if you make a square crust.
No. Then you got to call it a different name. You don't.
No, you don't
say
have to.
All right.
You don't have
If
to.
you make a square
we
pie,
change the subject?
what do you cut it with? A cake knife?
Oh, no. Hell no.
That's a whole nother argument.
Hell no.
All right.
All right,
JJ's
we're going
done
to ask our
argument.
listener. JJ doesn't like the pie talk.
JJ doesn't like all these silly arguments.
No, he does not.
He
JJ's a
checks
business.
out at the bar when we do those too.
Yeah, he does. He does.
He checks out every time. He'll just
He
go
doesn't
run
suffer
off to the
fools.
bathroom.
He doesn't suffer fools.
In my house, you know what we have for dessert? Bud Light. That's it.
Pie.
If you pour Bud
It's
Light into
round.
a
It
square
could be a
pan, is
pie.
it still a Bud Light?
Absolutely.
Oh my God! Tommy comes up with all these rules. There's weird rules.
Yeah.
A blanket statement. If a pie has to be circular. That's just it.
Right. If you bring out like you just like wandered off into the shrimp thing during conversation.
Isn't pie like mathematic?
But if you bring out shrimp in a pie like round platter, this is shrimp pie.
Oh no, that's gross.
All you do is pick it up, and then you have in the middle of it, you get the cocktail sauce. All of a sudden, you just call it shrimp pie. Right?
There's no listeners.
But if you bring it out,
nobody's buying this.
If you bring it out in a square platter, it's not. You can't call it a pie.
What do you call it?
Shrimp.
JJ, move on. What do you got for us, JJ?
Nothing. I didn't save a dog this week, so I have nothing.
What's your mobile guys do? Anything?
No, they're slacking. They haven't really had.
Well, it's the holidays.
It's a holiday season,
Yeah,
man.
maybe. I had to get on them this morning. Let's say, are we going to work tonight, or are we going to just like sit around and do nothing?
Which they never do.
Right. So.
I'm
do
with
it.
them on sitting around doing nothing during
No,
the holidays,
well,
or trying to do nothing.
They tried. They tried today. They worked. They got one arrest. But
There is
You know, a phenomenon that happens in the city and in most cities throughout the country, but on New Year's Eve at exactly midnight, people, I thought it was a good idea to shoot high caliber weapons into the air. And what you don't realize, and I was a physicist,
right.
that whatever goes up,
Captain Obvious. Come on.
how fast it comes up is how fast it comes down.
Shit.
So
You know it.
when you're shooting a bunch of guns in the air, you got a bunch of bullets coming down, and they can kill people. They go through houses, they go through roofs. But I think that's a
is that a St. Louis thing?
no. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think that's
I'll tell you
everywhere.
what.
Dude,
Well, I've been working New Year's for 20-something years in mobile.
That's some scary
and we
shit,
always
dude.
go.
It's the most
fun.
bizarre.
It's called Fun Without Guns, right?
Yeah.
And midnight, it is like I've taped it. It sounds like something in Vietnam. It's insane. And I was with Steve Dodge, was the lieutenant at the time. We were in mobile. We were up in the North City in the old 7th. And there's a school, and it has like an underpass. You can go under its concrete pillars, and you can. So we decided it was a good idea to park our police cars down there and get out and just shoot the bow. About 3 or 4 cars of ours, and then we could hear the fireworks and stuff. The guns going off.
that too.
And then we hear a whiz, and one ricocheted and hit one of the concrete pillars. And we looked at each other like, I think it's time to get back in the car.
Oh my God! It's just unbelievable. I'd tell the guys, get underneath the bridge for the 2 to 3 minutes either side of midnight, in case people's clocks are off a little bit. And
it goes on
because there's no defense, they come through your car, they come through your.
Oh, it's
just
insane.
It's a bad idea, people. It's a bad
terrible.
idea. What goes up must come down is a true statement.
No doubt. We had to work it every New Year's Eve, and the department calls it fun without guns. If you're working, and it's guns without fun, because you're dodging bullets, and all your friends are out having cocktails.
From like
Yes.
11:30 to 12:30. Because 11:30 starts as like the preamble. A couple here, a couple
right.
there.
Could warm up shots.
And then as it gets closer to midnight, they start the gap.
It is unbelievable, and it's an unbelievably bad idea. And
Right. Kind of like getting on a train.
Get on a train.
It sounds like a fun idea when you're talking about it, but it's just not a good idea.
It's celebratory gunfire,
I think
which is
that,
just not a thing.
What chief was that started that really?
I think it was Ron
Chief
Henderson.
Chief
Yeah.
Henderson. He really went after that. Him and I think Moqua followed him up with that, and they were really trying to do nothing you could do. I mean,
No, but you put the word out a little bit. If you make it real, it says,
Well-
"Hey, it could be your grandkid that bullet comes down."
And if
on."
you're in the country, fire away.
Yeah.
You're out there on your own property, and you got big enough property to fire that stuff. If you got a neighbor that you can shout out and talk to, don't shoot no guns.
Yeah.
Come on.
yeah, yeah.
Well, ammo's so expensive. I can't believe they just waste all that ammo.
See, now you're trying to take us into a different direction of how they get ammo, and we're a non-political show.
So that's our statement for this year, because this will drop before New Year's Eve. Don't shoot guns into the air,
Right? Chip your dog.
and chip your dog.
Chip your dog. That's
Chip your
always,
dog.
JJ taught us that last week.
Yeah, chip your dog.
And then have a Bud Light.
You know, well, we're not
maybe.
there yet.
Well, hold
we're
on,
not there
guys.
yet.
We need to.
We're still talking.
We're not going to talk about that.
We're talking about a segment called "The Lighter Side of Bud,"
But we're not there yet.
we're not there yet.
They haven't come to the table yet.
Yeah, so just cut that out, Tom.
I will cut that out. But I guess this is the end of our little
So it's your last podcast.
2023.
2023. We're signing off for 2023.
The Brighter Side of Blue was born in 2023.
Yep.
You might do a lot of cutting on this one.
Yeah. Oh wow.
No,
yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
At the end. I thought we were pretty good till the end.
Yeah. 33
Well, I
minutes.
think the pie.
33 minutes. Riffing.
We talked about pie for 10 of it.
And we only need 23.
Right.
to be a
Good.
Podcast. So.
Cut the whole pie shit out.
Square pie.
Why did that make you laugh?
Because I thought you were saying hair pie.
I almost spit my beer out, dude. I mean, if I was drinking, I almost spit it out.
You're still recording, are you?
Of course.
Oh, that's gonna make it. That'll make it.
That'll make
You're
it.
talking about hair pie.
Oh my God.
I
think that-
now
Oh, I don't know about that shit.
I think that Train Story might get a little short. You know, make it a little short out.
All right,
of
we'll
it.
make a little short out of that. That's up there with the purse story.
I mean, that dude. It was just so funny. He
Sounds
just sitting
like a
there,
great idea.
and he was sitting in Indian style on the thing, just debating whether to.
You don't know that. You're just making that. But that's a good. That's a good.
Visual, and he's deciding whether to pick this up and expose himself, or is there a chance this thing's gonna stop?
You know what? A part of me thinks he thought it was funny then, too. He knew there was going to be a good story.
Him?
Yeah. It was a good story. I mean, he didn't want to do it.
I think. Yeah,
Then once-
I think.
then
At
once he
one
did it.
point in time, you just got to do the tuck and roll.
And homeboy made it to Illinois.
I'm just doing the tuck
He
and
was
roll.
in.
I'm doing the tuck and roll coming in.
Not at 20 miles an hour. I ain't doing
See, what
it.
I didn't
Coming
know,
in
I didn't
dusty.
know that he actually, that you had to call the train and this stop.
I'm trying.
And that doesn't happen like this.
Yeah, the dispatchers don't have those numbers like sitting
No,
around.
right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
If an officer gets stuck on a train, call this number.
Could you imagine the engineer getting that
Stand
thing
by.
over the radio? They have like radios now. They don't have cell phones. But
Yeah. You've got to stop the train. There is a
What?
footbeat
Damn,
officer on your flatbed. You got to fucking stop the train.
252. Stand by.
That might have been it, 252.
Dispatcher, I'm on the train.
What a lonely ass feeling when he's going across Kings Highway.
Stand by.
You know, there's cars waiting at the intersection.
You know what, I'd own it though. If that when you're like, I've been waving to people like it was
Oh,
part of a
like you're
parade or
supposed to do it. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, yeah.
Thumbs up. I'm supposed to be on this train. Yep.
Start doing the moonwalk and shit.
You can cover a lot more ground on the train than you can walking.
Exactly. Except he's supposed to stay in the state of Missouri.
All right, that'll wrap up. That'll about wrap up this season
Yeah.
or this year.
Hey, 252, get off in Godfrey, Illinois, and catch the 352 back to St. Louis.
We can stop this thing in St. Clair. You can take the Metrolink back.
It'd be too dangerous.
Everybody save money.
Save gas. Just get back on the Metrolink. Welcome back, Bill.
We're just going to give directions to the Metrolink, get them back.
Oh, my God.
I think that's how the Metrolink got started. That idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metrolink that wasn't around then.
Yeah, then they needed. That's where they needed to get with their cross communications.
Right.
Hey, we got an officer heading your way. All right. All right, people.
Peace.
People.
Wonderful 2024 to all of you. And as always, peace.
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 Hit it, Huggy.